Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rutan, and this is a blue collar wine show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. I also help you learn a little bit about different kinds of wines, and we are looking at Chardonnay right now. This is an episode I've been wanting to do for a while just because somebody asked me, what's the difference between, well, let's go here. La Crema has three basic Chardonnays. I'm sure they do some vineyard selects, but they have a Monterey County, a Sonoma Coast, and a Russian River Valley Chardonnay. And somebody said, what's the difference between all those? Of course, price would be part of it. Monterey is the least expensive of the three, and the Russian River Valley, the most expensive. And unfortunately, I didn't write the prices down on the back of the bottle, so I'll have to put them in the subtitles of the video, so you'll see the pricing there. But I won't be able to give you the pricing on this episode. But that's okay. You'll see the pricing. Least expensive, middle, most expensive. And I believe they have vineyard designate Chardonnays, which be even more. Whenever they go vineyard, it gets more expensive. So we're going to look at the difference between these three Chardonnays. What is it about the terroir of these areas that makes these Chardonnays different? And can you tell the difference in the Chardonnays? Or do you even care? I don't know. But it is an interesting subject because terroir has a lot to do with how a wine tastes. For instance, in Chardonnay, Chablis in France, huge difference in Chablis over a California or Washington Chardonnay. Chablis has chalky crushed shell soils, fossilized shells that really affect the flavor of that wine. Of course, Burgundy itself, down in the central part of Burgundy, those wines are very distinct in their flavor profiles. And yet you go to Chardonnays from California, a lot different, and the same in Washington State, Australia. All of them have different attributes to them. But we're going to focus here on La Crema. And we're going to start with the La Crema 2022 Monterey County Chardonnay, or just says Monterey Chardonnay, and this is under $20. That's the best I can tell you, around 20 or a little bit less. So I'll give this a little rinse. So Chardonnay is right up there with Cab, #1 selling varietal in the United States. Chardonnay Cab kind of equal in that area. I always thought it was Chardonnay. So here's the Monterey Chardonnay from La Crema. Golden in color, for sure. Let's see what we get on the nose. Now Chardonnay does really well in cooler climates, and that's why they're like Monterey Bay, you've got Sonoma Coast, Russian River Valley, all of these areas, especially Monterey, which kind of central coast, the Monterey Bay allows cooler air to come in from the Pacific Ocean to these Chardonnay grapes, which they need. Chardonnay grapes do well in cooler climate. You start getting too warm, they start getting a little bit flabby, less acidity, and you need acid to make a wine really good. You just need it. Acid is important for wines. Let's see what we get on those. Get a lot of pineapple, a little bit of apple. Get a little popcorn kernel, which is interesting. You do an air popper, you get that kind of popcorn kernel thing. That's what I'm getting. With that pineapple, a little bit of cooked pineapple as well. Oh, that popcorn kernel is huge on the nose. Huge. Let's see what we get on the palate. Very light. I wouldn't call this a buttery Chard. There is a buttery component that comes through on the backside. A little bit of caramel, very light caramel. Definitely the pineapple elements. This has nice acidity, really simple Chardonnay, but it's not offensive. You know what I mean? Doesn't get over oaked, isn't too buttery. It's kind of right in the middle, kind of fresh. Not that popcorn kernel, it hits you on the palate. Not in a bad way. I'm a big popcorn fan, so it's okay with me. Maybe you're not. This is just a fresh, simple, easy to drink Chardonnay. Has just a pinch of butter, but not very much. The pineapple elements are very strong on this one, with a little bit of apple thrown in there. So it'll be interesting to see the difference as we graduate up in price. This one's just a really easy to drink Chardonnay, unoffensive, you know, probably under $20. I'll put that in the subtitles when I do my video, so you'll see the pricing on this. But just based on what I'm getting here, just a simple Chardonnay, I would go C+ on this wine. Let's move on. Now this is one I do sell at the store. This is a very popular Chardonnay, the La Crema 2022 Sonoma Coast Chardonnay. Now Sonoma Coast is considered one of the better growing regions for Chardonnay in California. Sonoma has a lot of morning fog that comes in that allows the grapes to be cool, and then in the late afternoon it also gets some fog off of the Pacific Ocean. So that really helps. Again, about the same color, maybe just a hair darker than the last one. Crema Sonoma Coast. So a lot of times you'll see Sonoma Coast is a great place for Chardonnay. Russian River Valley, as we're going to find out, is considered a really good place. More respected than Monterey County. Just saying. Let's see what we get on those. No popcorn kernel on this one. I give it a little bit of pear, Asian pear. A little bit of a floral component coming, like white, yellow flowers coming through, and a little bit of pineapple. It's not buttery on the nose at all, which I find interesting because a lot of these buttery type Chardonnay drinkers like La Crema. Let's see what we get on the palate. Now we sell this one for about 23 bucks. It's definitely a little more depth to this one, a little more polished in the mouth. The pineapple notes come through. There's just a pinch of butter, not over the top butter. Very balanced, really. Very balanced Chardonnay. I like it. Good acidity. It's kind of balanced in there. Nice integration of acidity and fruit. You know, I can see why people like this Chardonnay. It's not over the top. It's very balanced. There's not a lot of oak on this one. I know it rolls in at about 23 bucks at King's, so I know that because we sell so much of it. I see the price all the time. I just like the balance on this one. It's not too buttery. It's not too much acidity. It's nice and fresh and balanced. What else can I say? The pear notes come through. The pineapple, ripe pineapple notes come through. Can I tell the difference? Yes. I can tell the difference between the Sonoma Coast and the Monterey County Chardonnay. Sonoma Coast, a little more depth, a little more complexity, more balance, not as simple. Yes, you can tell the difference. And I'm going to go straight up B on that one. I think it's a solid Chardonnay. I like it. I do. I don't drink a lot of Chardonnay, and the reason I don't, there's one reason I don't, it's too easy to drink. I mean, it's, you know, you can start on a bottle of Chardonnay before you know it, boom, it's gone. And, you know, I just can't afford to do that. I'm just saying. This is a 2022 Russian River Valley Chardonnay from La Crema. And I know this gets closer to $30, and I'll put that in the subtitles underneath the wine in the video. Russian River Valley is a big ups. They have the Petaluma Gap there that allows that cooler air to come down. And Russian River Valley is one of the cooler parts of California for growing Chardonnay. And let's see what we get. Again, same, just golden color. This is what you expect out of Chardonnay many times. Let's see what we get on those. Let's get a little toastiness on the nose. The pineapple notes come through, apple notes. Light pear notes. This also has a little bit of that popcorn kernel thing going on. Let's see what we get on the palate. This is definitely a little more buttery, but not over the top. I'm impressed with these wines. I really am. I love Chardonnay that doesn't get too much wood. Speaking of terroir, you could break down terroir. You could get really techy on this one, but really it's the winemaker, the climate, and the area in which the grapes are grown. Climate, winemaker, area. And we talk about winemaker because a winemaker can screw up terroir in a heartbeat by over-oaking a wine. It just kills it. And you understand that you cannot get the terroir of the wine if you put too much wood on the wine. It just takes it away. Now there are some wines that handle oak a little bit better than others. Chardonnay possibly, but these are just so nicely balanced. And this Russian River Valley is definitely a step above the other two. I like the Sonoma Coast quite a bit. This is really good. Nice acidity. Yes, there's oak on it. You can get it, but it's not over the top. Nicely balanced. Well done. All of these have just a hair of ml. I don't think they're fully malolactic fermented, meaning a secondary fermentation. I think they stop them because this has good, fresh acidity. That's another thing. Malolactic fermentation will make those wines softer, more buttery, easier approach. Some people love that about a wine. Rombauer is famous for that. But this has good acidity, nice and fresh. They can stop malolactic fermentation. They allow a little bit of it, and then they stop it, cooling it down, making sure that fermentation stops, and then they put it to barrel and they bottle it. I like the complexity of this wine. I don't think it's over the top price-wise. Like I said, there is oak on this. It does come through, but it's balanced. It's not over the top. It doesn't bury the wine. It actually enhances it, which oak can do. And that's really the purpose of oak, is to give it kind of like a baker, you know, or a cook. They add little spices here and there to enhance the flavor of the food. That's what oak is supposed to do. It's not supposed to take it over. It's supposed to enhance it. And I think they did a good job with this one. So I get that little bit of butter, a lot of pineapple, good acidity, good apple notes, a little bit of pear coming through, kind of all that together makes for a very balanced and good Chardonnay, and kind of appeals to those people that like just a little bit of oak to their Chard. So I'm going to go, I think value-wise, this is my favorite. This is definitely a bigger style, but very good, nicely balanced. I'm going to go B+ to A- on the Russian River Valley Chard. It really highlights what Russian River Valley can do. So yes, Sonoma Coast, Russian River Valley, probably some of the better places to get Chardonnay in California. Monterey, it's okay, but not the best spot for growing Chardonnay. So, little lesson in terroir and really understanding what these wines are all about and how they express it themselves differently. More oak, a little bit less oak, but some oak, and not a lot of oak. And of course, that drives the price as well. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Give me your little thoughts, your thoughts on terroir. I'm very interested to know what you think about different terroirs and where you think Chardonnay comes the best. I mean, obviously a lot of people think Burgundy is the best place for Chardonnay. I'm not going to argue that point. Burgundy does do some great Chards, but they're expensive. So finding Chardonnays that are not a lot of money but deliver good quality, that's what I'm after. You keep watching. Oh, Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You keep watching and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.